Hi everybody, welcome to the Sable Society. You are with episode 2. I was hoping to do episode 2 last week, but then, that short week snuck up on me as well. But it's so good. I'm back. I'm back after a weekend away, and I've just quickly rushed in to see how everyone is doing and also go through because this week is CAN registration week. I cannot believe how this has just gone pew, and snuck up on us so much. But I am super excited. Everything is ready and in place. The form is all completed, the testing is all done, everything is there. And I thought I would come in and do this episode of the Sable Society to talk about what is going to be happening at CAN. But first off, if you're new to Sable Society, this is the vlog from me. I'm Marie Buskey. Primarily talking about Knit August Nights, but when it's not Knit August Nights time, also talking about various other things. So some of those things are what we're doing, what I'm doing, what I've got on the needles, and just general knitting things around and about. Now, I'm Marie Buskey, and I used to do the Skeins Diaries, which also then turned into the Quarantine Diaries, and then back to the Skeins Diaries, and now I'm here with the Sable Society. For those that don't know what a Sable is, that is an acronym that stands for Stash Acquired Beyond Life Expectancy, and I am the first member to say, yes, I am a Sable, and I have more than enough stash acquired, certainly beyond my life expectancy. But the good news is it's Knit August Nights is coming up, and it's here to inspire you, to help you use more of that wonderful, precious stash. Now, if you don't know what Knit August Nights is, go and check out the website, knitaugustnights.co.nz. That will tell you everything you need to know about this event held in Napier. It's been running since 2009, would you believe? And it is a collection of some of New Zealand's greatest tutors, and I've got actually a fantastic tutor from Australia this year, coming along to help inspire you, help increase your skills, take you to places that you didn't know before, or reinforce skills that may have been dormant that you didn't know that you already had. And it's just pulling together of a whole bunch of like-minded yarn and craft lovers, and we look at primarily knitting. And in fact, no crochet classes this year, but a little, there are crocheters, there's some spinning. It's just, it is fun. And there's shopping. Of course, there's shopping. I'm going to show you a little bit more about that in a minute. However, here I am, Sable Society episode 2. Welcome along. So I've had a few questions and inquiries from people over the last couple of weeks about the classes since the class list went up. And I thought I would just quickly run through some of these that will help you when you're making your decisions on what classes that you want to register for. So the first thing to remember is go through, have a look at your classes, and in each stream, so there's 4 streams, Friday morning, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, have your first choice class, but also potentially have a second choice class as well. Some classes do sell out extremely quickly. There is also a full Thursday masterclass with Ethan again this year. The master classes are slightly different. So they're done across an entire day. You are able to really dig down into a single subject over that day. And some people really enjoy that. They enjoy being able to just really knuckle in and do what it is that you're wanting to do. We also have a dinner as well at the end of that day, because often you make firm friends on that masterclass day because it is so intense. So this year the masterclass is Behind the Floats, a deep dive into all things stranded knitting. Ethan has been doing a lot of stranded knitting. Stranded knitting is super, super on point right now, has been for a number of years. And there is a number of techniques to actually get you working your stranded knitting not only effectively, but quickly, easily, so then you're not so daunted by when you see these patterns that are released. And there are some really amazing tips that you can learn that will make the world of difference to your stranded knitting. So in the class, across the entire day, I've got it all written here, he looks at all the different stranded knitting techniques that are available, covers off for techniques suited for continental knitters, left-hand knitters, beginner knitters. He looks at working things in the round and in the flat, gauge. Gauge is really important, especially with substitution. Often stranded knitting patterns are designed for yarns that aren't readily available here in New Zealand, or if you're wanting to import them, they're really expensive. So substitution is actually standard practice in this part of the world. He covers all of that as well, and he even goes into a little bit of steeking too, because steeking, I have to say, will allow you to do stranded knitting much more easily, quickly and effectively. And a lot of people absolutely freak out at taking the scissors to the knitting, so he'll even cover that. He's given me a PDF of suggested patterns for every level, your skill level that you have, so from beginner through to experienced. And the masterclass works around selecting whatever the pattern is that you want to select, and then he can dive down into different elements of that pattern. So there is a certain amount of tailoring to your skill set. Every masterclass, everyone that I know that has done a masterclass for the first time just loves it. It really beds down all this information, and it does it in such a way where you can sort of progress at your own time. Because this is such a weighty masterclass and there's so much information there, and stranded knitting is something that's so popular, Ethan then had the brainwave for his Friday classes is to break those down just into two of the elements from that masterclass, which was just the stranded knitting techniques. And he's going to look at that in the morning, on Friday morning, in the round. So if you're an in the round knitter, or you've knitted in the round, some of the things that you can do when you're stranded knitting in the round, some of the things around gauge, especially because there is differences with gauge. So that class will just cover stranded knitting in the round. And then the afternoon class will cover stranded knitting worked flat. So if you're someone who has only ever worked flat, you've never worked in the round, you're sort of like, this is, too much for me to tackle, there is that opportunity for you to actually look at that stranded knitting option for worked flat only. So it's not the full masterclass is probably another 40% more information on those two separately. But if you can't make it to the masterclass and you're wanting to get a really good snapshot of stranded knitting, you can do the Friday morning and afternoon classes, and that will cover you off as well. So there you go. He's thought of everything, our Ethan. Also on Friday is Bust Boost. Now, this Bust Boost class is shaping knits with confidence. So this is something that particularly for female knitters or women who have got especially larger bosoms, or anybody who has larger bosoms, and they don't have to be that large. Even someone like me can actually benefit, and I'm very average in that department, can benefit from having shaping across the bust and using bust darts to get a really well, clear, defined fit. So Libby will cover how our fit changes. A lot of these designs now, have you noticed how a lot of popular designs have become very, very boxy? And I think they do that so there's no need for any shaping, because people would just find shaping too difficult or scary. It need not be scary. So she will actually break all of that down. She'll look at bust darts. She used to cover this as a segment in her knit to fit classes, and it became so popular and such a huge element of that class, and it would take over so much of that class. She's actually pulled it out and designed an entire shaping class around this particular element and having things fit and having them fit well. So that class is a great one if you're wanting to make sure or if you've got patterns. So she's got all of her patterns, obviously, but you may have other patterns from other designers that you love, but the fit isn't quite right because of the girls. Libby will tell you how to actually add your own modifications to be able to make those work. So it's a great, great, great class. Finish Like a Pro is back from Lisa Craig, Lisa from Lisa F Designs, and that is all those little details when you're finishing your knitting. It's a super popular class. We didn't have it last year, sold out the previous 2 years, and it's back. So it covers finishing from casting off to weaving in to seaming, you name it, all those little elements that sometimes you just forget. And the finishing quite often is the one thing that will let knits down. So Lisa will cover all of those things and why it's important to do it. Last off is a new class in Stream 1. It's called Creative Fun with Silks and the Unusual. Now, the wonderful Annette Montgomery from Twisted Sisters, she was taught last year for the first time. And oh my gosh, everyone raved about the class, which is going to be repeated. And I said to Annette, everyone loved it. And I know that she has so many, she teaches quite readily. And she said, I said, what else have you got in the toolbox there, my friend? And she said that this is one looking at recycled silks and uses methods to make a decorative yarn, but without spinning, that can be used in patterns. And especially if you're wanting to do her Exploring Textures class, or you may have done the Exploring Textures last year, this is a really good adjunct class for that. She will have some silk hankies that you'll be working with, and she will look at Mawata, which is an exquisite knitting yarn, and you can practice that, and it's great for lace work. So that is a really exciting class if you're a CAN regular and you're wanting to shake things up a little bit. So that is with Annette. Okay, Friday afternoon, I mentioned before the Worked Flat from Ethan. Twice as Nice, brand new class. This is Sue Mulrennan, and Sue has become an absolute doyen. Adores, loves double knitting. And when I say double knitting, I mean the double-sided reversible knitting technique, not double knitting the weight of yarn. And we haven't had a double knitting class since Nathan Taylor came out in 2018. So it's been a long, long time. And Sue was in that class and did that masterclass with him. And it has absolutely sparked a passion in her. And she has pulled together an introduction to double knitting to be able to teach people this incredible technique. It's one of those ones that looks daunting, but when you actually break it down, it's not. And what you can do with it to be able to create some really fun gifts are incredible. She said it's great for making things like pot holders and coasters, which are just simple things, but blankets, hats, beanies. Nathan has got an entire repertoire of patterns that he uses in the technique. And so she said you'll learn how to cast on using 2 strands and long tail, knit rows and stitch pairs, read and work from a graph, and ensure you've closed neat row ends and correct errors without frogging. So it's a really comprehensive class there, and that's called Twice as Nice, the art of double knitting. Miraculous Mending is back. That was with Cheryl Lyle. It's hugely popular the previous 2 years. She's updated the content this year. There's been a lot more content around fixing and grafting and darning, particularly knitted fabrics, and she's going to look at some of those this year for you. So it's a great way to be able to ensure you can upcycle or continue to love items of clothing and do not consign them to the heap. Or you may go op shopping and find something that needs a little bit of work and repair, and this marvellous mending class will help you do that. So that is back in Stream 2. Right, Stream 3, which is Saturday morning. Annette's back with that Exploring Knitted Textures. So if you're doing Annette's class the day before, this is a great companion class to do the following day. So that is, and last year it's using a lot of the art yarns that are available. Annette is, if you don't know Annette's work, she is probably New Zealand's most renowned art yarn hand spinner. I have a secret obsession with these yarns. In fact, I might even pull out something and get something knitted using these yarns. She shows you how to best incorporate them into your knitting, how you can take a single skein of art yarn and add it to a project to create some wow and pizzazz. Yeah, it's a brilliant class. As I said, everyone last year raved about it. So that is going to be back this year. And of course, Annette will have her collection of art yarns with her, which will be available for purchase, or dig around in your stash. You may have something there, either art yarn or textured yarn, something that you were gifted or given, and you're thinking, what on earth am I going to do with this? This is the class for you. And I've even got a few extra textured yarns that I've just got in the resource box as well. So it's a really fun class, really fun class. So that is back this year. Oh gosh, I've jumped a page. Have I jumped a page? I think I've jumped a page. Oh yes, I have jumped a page. Look at that. Ba-da-da! Ethan's greatest hits. Oh, sorry, Stream 2. I did because I jumped a page. Lisa's class in Stream 2 is DIY hat design. That's Friday afternoon. DIY hat design. Uh, Hats. I mean, you can do everything from toques to beanies to slouch beanies to you name it. You can do it. DIY hat design allows you to design a hat that fits every single time, covers off crown shaping, covers off yarn selection, covers everything. Really, really fun little class. And I love knitting hats because hat knitting allows me to actually test out yarns. I often, if I have a single ball of something or only a couple of balls of something, knitting a hat's a really good way of using up those smaller projects and also test driving something that you've got, getting rid of unicorn skeins, and DIY hat design. It means that you can design something specifically for what it is that you've got. And she will cover all of those things off. It's a really handy, handy, handy little class, and you'll be able to apply much of what you learn in that class to a great many other things. That's what I love about Lisa's classes. Right, stream 3. Ethan's greatest hits. Someone did ask me, what are Ethan's greatest hits? Because they weren't aware of the Ethan. Ethan's greatest hits are his favourite tips and techniques for the ultimate finish. He's got lots of different things that he does that he will add to a design. So a design may not have these techniques. He'll look at it and go, no, this will be improved by this. He'll work through how to use them, how to incorporate them into your knitting, why you should go off the pattern, like why you should say go off piste with the pattern, say, no, this is going to be better than what's written. Often in a pattern, they will write the most generalized technique for the largest number of people in a skill level. And they do that because they want to sell patterns and they don't want to put people off by having a cast off that's a little bit unusual. And people go, oh, I don't know how to do that. Okay, so Ethan's going to demystify all of that and tell you that actually you can do that. And if you see a boring generic bind off and you know that this other bind off is going to be so much better, he will cover those off for you. And you will literally set yourself free by doing this. So that is Ethan's greatest hits. Pop, blend, or clash, colour theory for knitters. We haven't had a colour theory class for years. This class from Libby is an absolute cracker if you're doing the masterclass or either of Ethan's stranding knitting classes and you're wanting to sort of have that focus for your can this year. This class, I think, in Stream 3 will be a really good companion class to those classes because when it comes to stranded knitting, colour theory is vital. Absolutely vital. So if you're doing the masterclass or any of those two classes, I can strongly recommend that you take a look at this one too. You will have a look at colour theory, what colours go together, what colours shouldn't go together, what colours you think, oh, they'll never go together, but strangely they do. And also the colour combinations that work, you think this is a natural combination that's going to work, but you pull in an interloper and the whole thing falls flat, or what it is that you're wanting to knit needs actually different theory involved. All of that will be colour, and colour is incredibly, incredibly vital into, especially when we're combining colour with our knitting. So that is Pop, Blend or Clash Colour Theory for Knitters with Libby Johnson in Stream 3. Oh, I just need a coffee. Lots talking. Okay. Alrighty. Photography for knitters. Have not done a photography class for at least a decade. At least a decade. It's been a while. It's been a short minute. Lisa Craig has one of the things that sets her apart with all of her work in designs is she does all her own photography. It's beautiful. And how often when you're in different groups, you might be in the Skein Speakeasy or sharing something in one of the can groups, or you've got your own social media profile, you're wanting to grow that profile with your knitting, and you're just struggling to get a decent shot. Lisa will help cover off some of the photography basics, especially when it comes to photographing your craft. And it may not just be craft, you can take these basics across a whole wide variety of things, even just photographing your family. The beautiful thing too is she will help you with whatever it is that you have, whether it be if you're using a phone camera or if you've got a little digital camera or otherwise, bring that along, because a lot of this theory is around basics of light, composition, positioning, colour, all of these sorts of things. It's actually a really, really handy class. And if you're wanting to take better photos, just even for yourself, this is the class for you. So that is photography for your knitting. And I talked about exploring textures with Annette. Right, on to stream 4. Stream 4 is Saturday afternoon. Cheryl is back improv spinning without a wheel. So I haven't, again, not had spinning class for ages since Delene did wheel spinning for beginners. So this is using spindle spinning or distaff spinning. So this means that you can learn to spin on the go. And Cheryl she talks about sort of the history of the distaff, the history of the spinning. So it's really fascinating, but also about this as well, is that this is great if you've never spun anything in your life. This is a class for you. So it gives you some of those fundamentals. Or alternatively, if you're a wheel spinner, you can do this class too, because it allows you to use some of those skills but actually use a form of spinning that is transportable and allows you to take your spinning on the go. It is loads of fun, and it's fun and frustration and all these different neat things. So definitely check that out. And how to actually also make items for spinning from everyday objects. It's going to be a fun class. I've done one of these classes before with Mastercraft, and it was heaps of fun, a real giggle. In fact, I think if you were on the Can cruise, remember we did that when we did the Can cruise and we went and visited Glennis and Ian out at Mastercraft. It was heaps of fun. Right, stream 4 with Ethan, disaster management. It's not as terrifying as it sounds, but ultimately things go wrong. Things always inevitably go wrong. And Ethan will actually cover what goes wrong, how to fix those mistakes, how to rectify that, the gauge issue or whatever it is. And you get to a point and you go, "Ugh," and he will help you mitigate this disaster management and do it in such a way that you do not want to tear your hair out and run screaming for the hills. So if you've gotten to a point that you just want to mitigate, and believe me, we all have it. We all have disasters. Even I've had one recently and had to rip stuff out. It's the nature of things. So it's going to be a fun class. It's Ethan. You'll have lots of laughs, and I think you'll learn something. You'll think, oh, if I only had known that years ago. It'll be one of those. Also, two more. From Lisa, edges, polished and decorative finishes. This is a really, really fun class. Adding edges to things makes a tremendous difference. It can make the simplest of knitting just go, wow. And sometimes we can be a little bit sort of either scared or lazy or frustrated. Oh, look, there's my thumbs up. Scared, lazy, or frustrated. And this class will help you create featured borders, classic finishes, I-cord edges, picking up stitches, experimenting with different cast-off methods, and adding decorative borders to bring texture and style to your work. Great class, loads of fun. And it's a really nice little toolbox class of things that you may not have learnt before. So that's with Lisa. And lastly, Catherine Tribbett, our new tutor from Australia. She is going to be doing embroidery on your knitting. Now, Catherine has got the Australian yarn store in across the ditch there, and she also is a wool embroidery expert. She loves wool embroidery, and especially embroidery applied to your knitting. She's going to bring much of the yarn that you need and the materials that you need for this class. She approaches it from quite a different angle to other classes we've had in the past. And it's a great way, and she's on some of the samples that she sent me, and I'll send those out on social media over the next little bit, it doesn't matter what skill level that you have, that you've not done embroidery before, or you don't necessarily understand much stitching, but this will give you some really incredible, neat little skills. So you can either add them to existing patterns, and she's even got some stuff, she said some samples that you can add to an existing Trini Myrtle pattern too as well. So it is definitely worth checking that one out. And if you're wanting just something a little bit different to shake you out of, you're done with the knitting and you're just wanting to do something restful and interesting and quirky, this class is definitely going to be for you. It's a perfect class for a Saturday afternoon, and I think it will be absolutely fantastic. And that one is with Catherine. So that is everything that you have in the lineup for Can this year. So do make sure you check that out. Also, too, we're not going to do It's Yarn or the Bag this year. We're actually doing something a little bit different. We're going to do a host Q&A. So definitely Ethan and Libby are up for it. I'm up for it. I'm going to work on Lisa because she's a little bit shyer. But ostensibly, we're just going to all get together and they're going to talk a little bit about their knitting journeys, what they've been up to. You'll have the opportunity to grill them with some questions if you've got some questions for them, or even for me. And it's just really like a kind of a just for a round robin sort of chat. There'll be food on the table so you can have a wee snack, and it will be all done and dusted for 7 o'clock. So then that way you can pop off for a dinner booking or just have a nice quiet night in with your knitting. So it's something a little different this year that we haven't done before. We thought it was actually Libby's idea from last year, and she said, "Why don't we try that for next year?" And I really loved it. So that's what we're going to do. So it's sort of like sort of an expert panel, as it will, and you can ask them anything about yarn or knitting or design or anything you like. I mean, I definitely can speak for us three. I mean, we will talk till the cows come home, and anything you want. So fill your boots. So knitaugustnights.co.nz. If you've not signed up for the newsletter, if you go to the website and sort of scroll down, it's about 3/4 of the way down the homepage. You'll see a button there where you can subscribe to the newsletter. So that means that you will get that out, but it will be on the registration page. If you go to registration, you'll be able to get a link, click through there. I'll be putting it up in socials. I'll be sending it out in the newsletter, and that will be 10 a.m. on Thursday, the link for you to be able to register. So that's very exciting. Very, very exciting. And and also too, if you're wanting to trade this year, I've got, I keep the trading numbers very, very tight. I don't have a huge number of traders. I've suddenly realized, would you believe, that less is more? And it's actually allows the traders to be able to give you I give them a little bit more room, but they are able to bring you lots of diversity in what it is that they trade, and it also makes the shopping experience, I think, for you. You're able to really dive in and get things going. But if you're wanting to trade, there are trading spaces for the Sunday only, which is the public market. That actually suits a lot of people that are attending the event, especially if you've got a small craft-based or yarn-based business and you just want to trade. A Sunday trading table might be the way to go to get, make a little bit of extra money while you're away on your can weekend. And there might be one or two full weekend trading spaces that will come up as well on the registration. So if you want to snap one of them up, feel free. So loads of fun. Now I've just got, as you can see, got my project bags here. I'll just quickly show you what's on my needles. I mentioned to you I was knitting the slippers. There we go. I finished my son's slippers, and in fact, I think it's on social media. You'll see those finished in socials. This is his roommate's. It helps if we turn it. There we go. So this is his roommate's colour scheme. Deliberately chosen because he's got a suit, and I think he's got an hoodie or something that's in this crazy colours. He loves crazy clashy colours. So those are his. So I'm about halfway through the second slipper, and I am planning to get, within the next couple of days, the knitting finished, sewn up, and the felting process started. So then that is all completed. Then the other thing I also started while I'm away this is a yarn that as I think I mentioned to you in the first video, I've got some yarn coming for sale. It's quite different yarns that they're from supply. Well, one of them is from a supply that we'd had samples from in the past, in the former life, and so I've reached out to them. I've got some yarn on the water at the moment from them. Not massive amounts, 6 colours of that gorgeous Icelandic four ply fingering that I showed you before, and with nylon. It's just, I'm really excited about it coming. And if if I really love it and knit a bit more of it, I might even pull a bit more in before the event. But they also gave me a contact, oh, oopsie, dropping needles, for some hand dyed yarns as well. So look at this. Oh, look, colour coordinated. I do love it when it's colour coordinated. This was one of the skeins that arrived. It actually was a bit tangled, and so it wasn't. So I thought, oh well, that will be the perfect one that I had to untangle and lovingly wind into a ball, which I've just started swatching. And the reason I'm swatching it, I was showing, actually saw Libby yesterday, and I show on my way home, and I showed this to her yesterday. I've started swatching it. It's sport weight, so and I'm doing the swatch because I want to sort of see how it reacts. At the moment, that's a 3.5 millimeter needle. I might do a 3 or a 3.25. I probably will do a 4. I've got tons there to swatch. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of swatches. And I'm just going to do that because I just want to see what it looks like. So far, the handle's great. It's knitting up great. Libby looked at it. She was like, oh, that looks good. Really happy with it. I've got a variety of different colours. It's wool nylon, and it's great. It's great. It I'm I'm super happy with it, and I think it's going to be a nice little yarn, great for everything from sort of baby garments through to shawls or accessories or your regular garments. It's not machine washable. Well, not that most of it, yeah, it doesn't look like it's machine washable, and that actually doesn't phase me too much. Um, and part of the reason too is it also allowed me to get it at a good price, because I'm just very mindful that things cost so much more today. So that's what this is going to be. So anyway, that's that. So keep an eye out for that. And I've got about, how many colours of that did I get? I've got about 6 colours, I think, of that. It's all sorts of different. It's just a bit of fun. Just something a little bit different for you to try out. Right, I'm going to get going. So thank you for coming to the Sable Society. The Sable Society for episode 2, and the next Sable Society I am going to attempt to do live. So then that way you guys can have a bit of a Q&A as well and ask me anything that you need to know about Knitted August Nights coming up, or just stuff in general. So I'll let you know when that will be. Most likely it will possibly be probably Monday. Probably next Monday uh, at 11 o'clock on Monday. This funny old time. That's a familiar time, isn't it? Most likely will be then, but I'll let you know in the socials, so keep an eye out for that. But until then, take care, and I look forward to seeing you at Cannes if you're able to make the trip. So until then, this has been the Sable Society. I'm Marie Buskey, and knittaugustnights.co.nz is the website you need to check out.